Today I've got a really simple technique to create a washy water background. Welcome back, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I have a fun and easy technique to share with you today using the new Blossom Wreath stamp. I'm using some of the watercolour paper from the paper set from Altenew, and this is actually a layering stamp, but I'm only going to be doing the outline layer. And these watercolour paper pieces are cut exactly the same size as the carved ones, so they're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And they tolerate water really well, and they're a nice thick cardstock and really nice and white too, which I really like. So I've started by spritzing some clean water like in a circle in the center of my piece of cardstock here, and I'm adding some of the refill colors. These are from the watercolor brush markers, and they have a real intense color, and they've got all the colors that are in the 3 sets of markers, so there's heaps to choose from. And I just love the way that they're mixing here. It's not as big as I want, so I simply just came in with my brush because I want it to actually be a little bit wider than my image. And I'll link a card that I was inspired by from Norine. She's an amazing creator for Altenew, and she often does this technique where she has like a beautiful wash in the background, and I thought I would give it a go. So thank you so much for the inspiration, Norine. And basically I just set this aside to dry. It's as simple as that. So now it's time to stamp my wreath. Initially I was going to do it in black, but then I changed my mind, and I thought it'd be a lot more fun to emboss it with some pure white embossing powder. So I have used my Misty here because it's a large image, and I haven't stamped this image before, it's new. So I just prepped it with my eraser, and I figured if I've got my Misty I can always restamp it if I needed to. But it actually stamped really well the first time. How cool is this? I just love watching embossing powder melt. I don't know, it's like it's a magical thing in card making to me. And one of the good things about having an embossed image is that now when I come back to add my colour to my flowers and leaves, I've actually got like a little well of embossed colour to hold that colour in place. And I've used the watercolour brush markers again here. You could use any markers that you have to add colour, or even come in with some paints and paint the colour within the embossed areas as well. You can use whatever you have. But I do find these watercolour brush markers really easy to use because the colour's already made up for me, and it's in the shape of a brush, so it's almost like colouring with, say, a Copic or something for me. And they are really juicy, so sometimes I have to be really careful. I have had a couple of dots fall out on my image, so I just keep a piece of paper towel off to the side so I can, if it feels like it's getting too much ink on there, I can simply just dab it off on that paper towel. And I dabbed the whole image off just to make sure there was no leftover colour on the embossing. And I did actually run this through my die cutting machine to flatten it out. I've added a sentiment here from the same stamp set. It's got some really beautiful sentiments in it, and all I did was pop that on the front of a card and add a mix and match Mariposa butterfly, which I had already die cut with some of the watercolour. It's the Alluring Blooms paper pack, and then also some of the satin white sequins. So I will link this blog post that's attached to this video beneath, because this is actually part of a release, so you'll have a chance to win if you're here in May 2020 and get lots more inspiration using the new amazing sets from Altenew. And I hope that you've enjoyed your visit here today. If you did, it'd be really nice if you could click on the thumbs up button and let YouTube know that you liked the video, and also subscribe if you haven't already, because I appreciate every time you visit here. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.